I was a journalist when I started off my journey, a TV journalist, right? So this is a job which is high intensity, super exciting. There is Bollywood, there's Hollywood, there's social issues, there are political issues. You're snap, snap, snap on the job. There is no room for people who are, cannot perform. There's no place for people who procrastinate. But there came a time where I had to really look inwards, and I was married to my job, and I was having an extramarital affair with my husband. And you know which one you choose. And so I quit my job and I said, I need to take a break. But during that time when I was working, I met my now business partner, Gautam, who was working on micro pensions. Now that's a word I had heard the first time. He offered me a job. I was skeptical. I said, I don't know the F of finance. Where am I going to do the P of pensions? He said, I tell you what, we'll work with the tribals. We will get them to open pension accounts. If you like it, you stay, else you go. And I'm looking at the guy and I was like, really? Anyway, I was up for the challenge. I said, okay, fine, we will do this. We started working with, in the Nilgiris, in a small tribe, Pania tribe, that was working in the tea estates. They were just soon before that, they were still on a barter system. And they were worshipping a grove in their forest. And we were there to start them off on a financial inclusion journey with a pension product. It is as difficult, it sounded like completely impossible. I was like, this is nuts, can this really work? So I went back and I said, okay, fine. We were truly focused on digital. We were like, we're not gonna do cash collections, we will not do all of that. But these people didn't have bank accounts. They didn't have digital IDs. The payment system was a ghost, it didn't exist 13 years ago. So how are you actually going to get these people to save for their old age? We tied up with a local bank, opened the bank accounts. We tied up with the national ID system, which was coming up at that time, and got them digital IDs. We got a global payment partner to issue closed loop cards to them. And we were like, okay, fine, this looks like something that we can do. And mind you, we have again not started doing pensions yet. Okay, so what product should we take to them? Should it be medium risk, high risk, moderate risk, high yield, government products? What are we going to do? So we said, okay, fine, let's do it. Let's run a research. So we ran a research program and we found out the usual suspects. What is the capability of the people to save? What is the ecosystem that they have? Can they sustain all of this? But what starkly came out on the demand side is that they wanted a product that was secure, or at the least return the principal amount that they had saved into. This was their only simple ask. So we went shopping. So we went looking at some scientific reason why we could find a secure product that could help these people save into a product. We did find a product. The product allowed them to save 500 rupees or $6 a month. Doable, right? I can see a lot of heads nodding. Absolutely not. Because these people did not have that much money in one go to put into their savings account. But could they save 20 rupees or 24 cents a day? The answer was yes. And so we went back to the government and said, why don't you allow for them to save 100 rupees or just over $1 to be able to get on to their pension journey? It was a win. We were super delighted. But remember, we have still not started doing any work on pensions. Thank God these people had mobile phones. They were not smartphones, they were USSD phones. And all they knew what to do on the phone was a red button and a green button, and they knew what digits looked like. And now we're thinking, okay, fine, we've done all this work that we needed to right now, but this individual, we need to open an account which requires a form to be filled. The form is 7 pages long and has 83 fields to be filled. How is this going to happen? We cannot do it. So we said, okay, fine, we'll digitize the form, right? Okay, sounds very good. And we were able to do it. We went to the national ID, pulled some data, we did the privacy laws, we did the security, this, that, the other. Voila. We have the golden egg, right? I smiled at this point in time and I'm like, yes, finally. But I stopped smiling. You know why? Because we had created something that we thought was good from our knowledge. Yes, we had the experience. Yes, we'd done the research. But our person, again, was not literate to maneuver through anything. They spoke different languages, different dialects, the scripts were different, and the scheme form had to be submitted in English. And now I'm like, where is micro pensions? I was in this job which was high energy, Red Bull mode delivery, and now I'm in this slow-mo world of pensions. Went back to the drawing board. We said, okay, fine. We're going to get people in the community who are educated and get them onto speed to help them open accounts and get them onto this digital platform that we had, right? This digital platform was growing horizontally. It was not growing vertically. It was held together with bandages and, super glue and so on and so forth. But what did happen? We didn't become a fintech at that point. What we became was a FinTouch, and it worked. And now we started educating people on awareness on what they need to do to join this game. I'm very, very happy and excited to share that there were 1,065 tribal members at the time. 813 of those joined the scheme. 543 of those remain to still save regularly. It took us 1.3 years to get to this result. But boy, am I proud of this. By the time I stopped working for this company in 2014, they had 2.5 million customers, saving small amounts for themselves. And some of those individuals still save to date. They have about 7 lakh rupees in their pension accounts, which is about 8,500 USD, which is a significant number. This experience completely changed my mindset. I was running after headlines, but were they headline worthy? I was running to deliver on news before anybody else could. But today, none of that mattered. Why? Because I had caught the micro-pension bug. So now I started my journey as an entrepreneur along with my business partner, Gautam. We became co-founders. And we decided to introduce pension tech to the world. Now, what this meant was that we needed to keep technology, to keep the costs low, and to enable this individual to latch on to financial products, which meant that they needed shorter-term savings products, they needed insurances before we could start them on their pension journeys. So we had to create this multi-trillion-dollar market from scratch, right? It is not an easy thing to do, still isn't. So we started focusing on creating technology, templatizing solutions for adoption across developing countries. But before we could do that, it required policy decisions, regulatory environment, legislative decisions, etc., etc. I can go on and on. So we worked in over a dozen countries on diagnostics and feasibility studies to figure out how is it that we can get governments to start thinking about these future 2 billion elderly by 2050 who are going to live in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So the government saw a lot of merit in all of this because they needed to deliver social security to 80% of the informal workforce, which has so far not been included in any of this, which would create new pension assets. The private players saw an opportunity again because the market of those 20% who were in the formal sector was getting saturated, and hence they needed to move on to something new. So what everybody in the ecosystem realized that the cost of not doing this is very high. Yippee, we were home. People started recognizing the word micro pensions. We worked relentlessly to get aging as a part of the Sustainable Development Goals as well. But now we needed to set up shop. pinBox was born, it was a pension tech. But now we ventured into the world of VCs where we needed to go and get some money. I can tell you this was not a walk in the park because we were just not that employable, investable business. So we got several opinions. Oh, what you're doing is very important, but can you tell me who your competitor is? What you're doing is very good. Can you tell me what your ROI in the second year is going to be? Or even better, why don't you start doing it as a charity? Ouch, that hurt. So we went around the block several times over, sometimes with the worst pitch ever, and sometimes with a very bad pitch to the investor, and sometimes to a bad investor, right? But honestly, they were just misaligned. That's what it was. Finally, we did land up with an investor who believed in us, thankfully had deep pockets, and took us on to our onward journey for pension inclusion. Today, as we stand on African soil, we are able to successfully give a pension inclusion long-term savings scheme in Rwanda in 2019. Today, that scheme has nearly 3 million people in the scheme. Wow. 50% of those are women, and 70% of those people continue to save regularly. This is also the wonder of the land of a million smiles, which is Rwanda. We have not even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. Yet I'm standing here, thinking that I would have never found a job that was as exciting as what I had. But honestly, I have not even missed one day of it. I know the spectrum of the financial inclusion network that we have picked is the toughest, which is on pensions. But I assure you, it is the most gratifying experience ever. The only thing that it needs is patience. Thank you.